I can hear you too.
All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining. This is She's in Charge webinar, the third one of the many series that we hope to bring you. Thank you, everyone, for joining. My name is Yemisi, and I'll be your host. So for us to kick off, we'd like to start on time so that there is no African time. We're starting now. Please, let's welcome the Chief Customer and Marketing Officer of AXA Mansard, Jumoke Odunlami, to give us a welcome address.
Thanks, Yemisi. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can see and hear me clearly. Yemisi, please confirm.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, and welcome everyone to the third edition of our She's in Charge webinar. Very excited to be here, and I'm looking forward to the wonderful and the brilliant speaker that we have taking today's session. So basically, before we start, it's just basically to say thank you all for joining us. We're so glad and excited that you have chosen to be a part of our She for Shield initiative. I will just give a very quick introduction about AXA Mansard. Of course, you know that the She's in Charge webinar is brought to you by AXA Mansard. AXA Mansard is a member of AXA Group, the worldwide leader in insurance and asset management, serving over 108 customers and with operations in about 57 countries across the globe. In Nigeria, we are represented basically by three companies. We have AXA Mansard Insurance, which operates basically both life and non-life insurance business. I'm sure you're quite familiar with that. We also have a company, AXA Mansard Health Limited, which is the leading provider of health maintenance organization in Nigeria, AXA Mansard Health. And lastly, we also have AXA Mansard Investments Limited, which offers asset management services. So please, you can log on to our website and get more information about us at AXA, www.axamansard.com. Now, why are we here today? At AXA Mansard, we are very, very passionate about women. We believe that women are the key to progress and a vital force for growth and development in the world. And we are very, very committed to helping women take their place in, not just in Nigeria, but in the world, of course, starting with Nigeria. So we are fully committed to that. So to this end, we have a platform. It's called the She for Shield initiative, which was set up after research conducted, joint research that we conducted with IFC in 2015, and we have been operational. If you want to know more about the initiative, log on to our website, AXA.com, more information initiative, which is our Women Empowerment Initiative. Now, this is the third episode of She's in Charge webinar. I'm sure many of you joined us in the first episode. We brought some on, your own personal branding for yourself, creating a personal brand for yourself. It was very interesting and enlightening. The second episode was last month, where we taught women how to dress for success, which is very, very critical, for success. And we've received very, very good feedback from those two sessions. Today, we are bringing you something even more exciting, or someone even more exciting. I will allow Yemi to talk, to introduce our guest speaker. I just want to say, please relax, enjoy yourself, listen attentively. And then lastly, I also want to say that we will be taking comments on what you would like us to talk to you about, who you would like us to feature in the She's in Charge webinar. So what areas of focus and guest speakers that we can bring to you. We welcome your comments in the comment section. Leave it in the chat box. So without further ado, let me allow us to get to why we are here today. Yemisi, thank you very much. And I wish us all a very, very exciting session. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Jumoke. Thank you. So before we go into the meat of the matter today, we just wanted to share a few ground rules before we get our speaker to start. Some of our ground rules include, well, you know, for every virtual event, you must have a great internet connection so that you don't miss anything, so that you're able to enjoy everything and you don't miss out on any of the important information that will be dished out today. Keep your microphones and cameras off throughout the session so that you don't distract others and every other person is able to pay attention. We'll have a question and answer session at the end of the presentation. So please keep your questions until then so that everyone can get the meat of the matter fully. And you can, at the end of the session, drop your questions in the chat session so that our speaker can answer. We already had the welcome address from our Chief Customer Marketing Officer, Jumoke Odulami. So, to our speaker for today, Mrs Tara Fela Durotoye. I'm almost sure that everyone on this call has either heard of her somehow or has experienced her. She's a Nigerian lawyer and a beauty entrepreneur. She's a pioneer in the Nigerian bridal makeup industry and has developed the first bridal directory in 1999. She's the founder and CEO of House of Tara International and the creator of Tara Owekilewa Beauty Range. She's also the creator of Inspired Perfume and HIP Beauty Range. She's a multiple award winner, and some of her awards include the Africa SMME Award and the Entrepreneur of the Year in South Africa. That was back in 2007. She has also been named by Forbes among Africa's 20 young power women in 2013, and also in 2020 among Africa's top 50 most powerful women. Mrs. Tara Fela Durotoye, please, are you there with us? Hello, Ma, are you there, please?
I was muted. Yes, I am. Hello, everyone.
Hello, Ma. Good afternoon. Okay, we can see you.
Wonderful. I can't see myself. Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, everyone. I hope you can see me.
Hi. We can see you.
Yes, we can.
Hello, Mark. Good afternoon. It's good to see you.
Can I see in the chat?
Hi.
Hello.
Well, nice to see you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Hi, Debola. Nice to see you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Wonderful. Good afternoon. My Mansard family. Thank you, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Good afternoon, everyone. So I think one of the greatest gifts that I've come to recognize is my ability to share my story, but also constantly being given the opportunity to do so. So I'd like to start by saying thank you to Mansard for the recognition and for giving me this opportunity. Opportunities that are given, many times when you're given an opportunity once, it's something to be grateful for. But when you're given an opportunity multiple times to do the same thing over and over again, it's a sign for one to be grateful. And so I'm truly, truly, truly grateful for this chance to do so. I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 years in Nigeria, has taught me a lot of things when I've been starting and growing my business as a woman in Nigeria. I would like to talk about 10 mistakes that I made on my journey in starting up my business. You know, when I think about mistakes, sometimes I know that there's a lot of conversations around the success of doing business. It's great, it's inspiring. But I think sometimes when you share your mistakes, it gives you an opportunity to give others the chance to rise up again if they've fallen. It gives others the opportunity, a chance to be able to say, if Tara, who I respect and admire as an entrepreneur in Nigeria, has fallen multiple times and she stood up, then I can. So that I think is also inspiring. And I think many times I share about the successes. I talk about the successes because it's in a bid to make people, to inspire others. But I think that sometimes talking about the places where I misstepped, things that I underestimated the impact or the import of some of those actions. Okay, please, let's see your face. Somebody can't see my face. How do I do it so she can see my face? Can you guys help me?
We can see your face.
I think it's probably that person.
Oh, you can?
It's probably her network, okay. So maybe she can log out and log back in.
Okay, okay.
Because others can see.
All right. Yeah. And so I took the time to take down some notes of some of the things that I remember. I just said, because I only have 45 minutes, I like to tell stories. I'm a storyteller. So I'd like to use the opportunity to tell some stories. I also feel that with storytelling, it helps us to remember. Sometimes it's easier to remember than to remember principles. And my hope is that at the end of today, you will recall at least one or two of those stories. And I'm hoping that when I see you somewhere, you would say to me, hey, Tara, I remember this story that you told while you were at the Mansard speaker series. And this is a story that you shared. And that story truly, truly inspired me to rise up and believe again and stand again. And I think that with 2020 and the challenges of 2020, I think one of the things that comes out from that period is that a lot of people felt really discouraged. A lot of people felt overwhelmed by the uncertainty. And I'm hoping that no matter what, there are some of us here who will just stand, who will take a stand, decide that I'm going to try again, and that it is possible to be more and achieve more. So what is one of those mistakes when I think about starting up my business? I think I assumed that my immediate network will constitute my client base. I underestimated, or I assumed that my immediate network will constitute my client base. I started as a bridal makeup artist. If you know, when my profile was being read, you would notice that it referenced me as a pioneer bridal makeup artist. The industry is massive today, but 23 years ago, that wasn't the case. Every bride who was getting married was being made up by an aunt or by a friend. Starting it as a business was unusual, was something that people didn't even think that anyone would pay for. And so the first set of people that I went to see were people who were within my network. I was a university undergraduate at the time. I was studying law at the Lagos State University. And I went up to a few of my friends and asked questions around who did they know that was getting married. And I kept getting the responses as oh, I don't know anyone. Oh, I'm not sure anyone will be interested. These were the responses I was getting. But I think the thing I will take out of that is that even though I got this feedback from my immediate constituency, my immediate network, it didn't stop me from trying again. And there's some of us here who have started our businesses, who have a business idea. You've shared that business idea with a friend. You've shared that business idea with your sister or your cousin. And You have expected that it will connect you with someone. But let me tell you, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't, and I'll explain why. So, whatever you sow, you would reap. Whatever you sow, you would reap. And let me explain what I mean by that in this context. I have found that when you engage, you speak to your cousin, you speak to your sister, you speak to your friend, you speak to your colleague, you speak to people within your network. They may not be the ones that will get your clients. But as long as you have sowed the seed by telling them, what you have done is you have spoken. Words are very powerful. Words are spirits. Words are spiritual. And because words are spirit, it moves. Words move. And many times you say something, the person you're saying it to doesn't react to it. But because it has been said, it moves and it brings your clients to you. And so I would charge you that, yes, I assume that they will come from my immediate constituency, my immediate network. My first clients didn't come from my immediate network. It came from outside my immediate network. But I started by talking to my immediate network. So words move. Words are spiritual. Words move. They are spiritual. Words create. And by telling your cousin, your sister, I started this business, I do this business, I offer this solution, that word that you have spoken creates. That word that you have spoken is making things become real. So for everything that we see, it started up in somebody's mind. But sometimes when you speak what is in your mind, what you're doing is creating. So don't stop talking about your business. Don't stop talking to your cousins about your business, even though they may not be the source of your client base. Don't stop talking to your sister about your business, because words move, words create, and words are spiritual. If you're learning anything from what I just said, please put it in the chat room so that this is, I want it to be interactive. I want to feel you, even though I can't see you. Put it in the chat room, let it be interactive. Share what you're learning from what I'm saying. I'm saying words move, words are spiritual, words create. And so I assumed that my first clients would come from my family, my friends, my network. They didn't come from them. But guess what? Those words created. And because the words created, it didn't stop me from receiving the seeds that I have sown. And that's why I started talking about sowing and reaping, that if whatever you sow, you will reap. So sow words about your business, sow words about the solution that you are providing. And as long as you sow those words, they will create, because words are spiritual. Thank you. I can see that. Fantastic. You guys are getting it very good. Thank you for being interactive. Thank you. So I can feel you now, right? So this is one of the things that I assumed, that my network will constitute my first client base. And that didn't happen. But guess what? I spoke, and therefore I created. I also thought that when I needed money, that my bank will be ready to provide the resources, the overdraft, the loan that I needed. And I was grossly disappointed. And I want you as entrepreneurs out there, female entrepreneurs out there, to know that, to be honest, bankers are in business to do business. Banking is not charity. Banks are not charity. Banks are in business to make money. And as long as entrepreneurs, we have not been able to ignite trust in the mind of our bankers, they will not support us. Banking is serious business. Banking is not charity. Banks are not charity. Those organizations were created to make money. As entrepreneurs, we give us loan. No, the bank is not here to give you loan. The bank is here to make money. And so as long as female entrepreneurs, we haven't learned the techniques, We haven't learned the discipline that creates trust in the mind of our bankers. We will not be able to access the support that we need from our bankers. So banks are not charity organizations, they are for profit. And they're looking for who they know for a fact will guarantee the returns on their investment. They did not come to Lagos to come and count bridge. They didn't come to smile, right? They came to make money. When I went to my bankers the very first time, it was Intercontinental Bank at the time, and then in Shonic Bank also, both banks didn't give me money. But I look back and the mistake I made was not realizing the bank will give to the person that they trust. Bankers give to the person that they trust. And what is trust? Trust that you will be able to pay back that money. Trust that you'll be able to pay back that facility. Trust that you will be able to keep to your word. And that the money that you claim that you want to use, that you can deliver on what you are proposing, and that your forecast is real, and that you are going to expend that money on what you say you will. And so having the assumption that because I'm in business, therefore I will get a loan, it was an assumption. And I had to learn the hard way. So the bankers trust you only when you're credible. So they're looking for credibility. And a lot of small and medium scale businesses have not proven themselves to be credible. And how do you create credibility? Number one, bank all your transactions. It is not necessarily about the bank balances. The bank is looking for credibility. And how do they gain trust? They gain trust by consistently see the transactions coming through the bank. Every time you have a sale, every time you have an exchange, and the bank isn't seeing your transactions, they have no business to believe you. And believing is where trust comes from. It is about the trust. It's about saying, this is how much my business generates. What do you have to support your claim? Because I can trust you, but the only way to verify is by the transactions that I see. So if I say my business generates 10 million naira in a year, when the bank goes to my transactions, do they see 10 million? That's number one. Number two, the revenue that comes in, how is it being expended? On what is it being expended? Mind you, they can tell whether you are buying shoes and bags, right? They can tell whether it's restaurant payments for food. They can tell whether it's personal expenses. And I can't trust that if I give you my money, if you couldn't put the money back in your business, if you couldn't, if your money is not going directly into building your business, then why do I trust you? And so I had this assumption that a bank is here to support me. Oh, girl, the bank isn't here to support you. The bank is here to make money. So it's time to build our credibility. And building our credibility, first of all, is about ensuring that all transactions are banked, ensuring that as the transactions are being expended, you know where your money is going, and that the majority of your money is going back into the business. Plus, you're paying yourself a salary. So therefore, the bank can see that you're not just going to spend on a lavish lifestyle when you receive what it is they're giving to you as a loan. They see that you're going to be consistent. And this is the story of my business. When I did eventually get the opportunity of meeting the MD of a bank, at this time it was the GT Bank, and he looked through my account details. And the first thing he said to me was, I am surprised that your account officer could not sell your business. He was basically saying, from the transactions that I see in your account, I can tell that you are diligent. You are diligent in putting back your business, putting back the money that you're generating in your business. And by looking at that, he said to me, as I was making my presentation, he said to me, I need the head of retail to come and listen in on this conversation, because your story is a kind of story that GT Bank would like to be a part of. And so my charge to you women is that the bankers want to see credibility, and that credibility comes from ensuring that you bank your revenue, they see the numbers. I can't make a claim without verification. We can, I always say trust, but verify. And that's what the banks will need to do. They will only verify by the numbers that they see in your account as you transact on a day-to-day basis. I want to see if you're learning anything on that. Please, the 200 ladies here, I want to see you tell me what you're taking away from my conversations so that I know that you're learning and we keep the conversation engaged, right? Thank you very, very much. So I thought the bank was here for me. I also thought a mistake that I made was to think that my business was all about me. I thought that my business was all about me. I carried on thinking to myself, I don't need employees. When I say I don't need employees, not because I did not employ, but there was a mindset that it took me and me alone to do the business. So I don't care about how you feel. I don't care what you think. I don't care about this. I don't care about that. And not caring about this, not caring about that was my standard language. And I would say to anybody who was employed within my purview, I would say to them, it doesn't matter whether you are here or not. And so there wasn't a sense of belonging. There wasn't a community. There wasn't a community within the business that I ran because the business was about me. Well, anyway, it was about the customers calling me. It was about me serving the customers. And so the power of words again, the power of community. People are not just interested in working for a person. They're also interested in working in a place that makes them feel that they are part of a community. I have learned that I think it was 6 years ago, Jobber Man gave House of Tara one of the top 100 best companies to work for. But that came after my lessons had been learned. I started with thinking the business was all about me. And so my language was I did this, I am doing this, I can do this, I will do this. I don't need, it was about I. Watch your language. Watch what you are communicating, not just with your words, but with your body language. No matter who it is that's working in your organization, from the janitor, even if it's one employee or two employees, do they feel a sense of community? Do they feel like they're part of something? Do they feel like they're a part of something that is impactful, making a difference? How do you make people feel? It's about what you tell them. Identify as an entrepreneur. When you say I'm CEO, I'm MD, to whom much is given, much is expected. And the expectation is that you will know more. And because you know more, you will do better. And because there's an expectation that you know more, show it. Do not have that position just for the sake of having the position. Have the position because you can deliver on that position, or you can deliver on the leadership requirements for that position. How do you make people feel a sense of community? Number one, do you know my name? Do you know where I live? When I say do you know my name, I don't mean it from a surface level, but do you know me? How interested are you in me, who I am, who my father is, what my father does, what my mother does? When you walk into the store that you own, when you walk into your office, as you walk in, do you ask how people are doing? And not ask because a rhetorical question or a standard question or a cliche. Do you ask the question because you are genuinely interested in knowing how they feel? That is how you make people feel needed, you make people feel part of community. It's by the little things. It's a show of kindness. You walk into a place and you see somebody's eye red. Because the reason why you know the person's eye is red is because you looked, you gave eye contact. Your body language said, I'm interested in hearing about how you're doing. So when I asked the question, how are you? I didn't just ask the question, how are you, and walk away. I stopped and acknowledged you by giving you eye contact. I am the CEO, I'm the owner of the company, the company's name is my name, whatever. But I have stopped to acknowledge. And it is the janitor. It is the sales girl. It is the receptional audit guy. But you take the time to acknowledge them. You acknowledge their contribution, the contribution that they make. You ask questions, so you acknowledge their presence, you acknowledge who they are, you know who they are by the questions that you ask. You ask how they're doing by a show of kindness, by paying attention to them. But also, you acknowledge their contribution. You acknowledge their contribution. This role, being a founder, a business owner, is a position of responsibility. Is a position of responsibility. So it may sound hard, it is hard, but you have to do it. If you are going to grow your business within Nigeria, acknowledge their contribution. How do you acknowledge their contribution? It's by asking them what they also think. What are your thoughts? So before in a meeting where there are 5 of you, 2 of you making a decision on something, never be the first to speak. Always be the last to speak. Because if you speak as a person, as the owner, you automatically shape what other people say. Culturally in Nigeria, the Nigerian culture is that the person who's senior, or there's a strong sense of patriarchy, there's a strong sense of seniority as a culture. So generally, people would wait for you to speak and therefore respond. But guess what? We all don't see things from the same place, from the same vantage point. And therefore you need to hear others and their ideas. And guess what? Never ever think, I always tell the story of Joseph. For those of you who are Christians and for those who are not Christians, in the Bible, there's a famous story of Joseph. Joseph was a slave boy who worked for a very famous, I would say, the prime minister of Egypt, but he was a servant. He was a servant. And the story is told that God blessed the house of Potiphar. So Potiphar was the prime minister, that God blessed the house of Potiphar because of Joseph. Now, the Bible is a book of wisdom, loads of wisdom. It's an ancient book. Even if you're not a Christian, it is an ancient book that one can learn from the stories. And this very famous story of Joseph. And if you think about the story of Joseph, if you don't know, Joseph was a servant who worked in the house of the prime minister of Egypt. At the time, you consider Egypt one of the dominant countries in the world, right? It was a leading country. And this servant, this houseboy, this megad, this cleaner worked in the house of Potiphar. And the story is told that because of Joseph, God blessed the house of Potiphar. And the question for you and for I is, who is the Joseph in your business? Who is that Joseph in your business that because of him or because of her, your business can be blessed, or your business can grow, or your business? Remember, he was a servant. He was not the accountant. He wasn't your business partner. He wasn't a co-founder. He wasn't the manager. He was Joseph, a servant. So let's ask people, ask the janitor, ask the cleaner, tell me what your thoughts are. You know, it's very interesting to find out. I mean, House of Tara is now a much bigger company. We grew to almost over 100 employees at some point, right? And we have branches all over the country. And you will be surprised, cleaners are least recognized. They are least acknowledged. People don't even notice that they are there. But guess what? They know more than even the CEO. You know why? They see customers, and customers don't know that they are there. They hear what the customers say when the staff is there. Guess what? They see how staff talk about the bosses when the bosses are not there, because they know, right? They listen and nobody acknowledges them. And so we underestimate the power of the janitor, the power of the cleaner, but not just a Joseph. I also think about even within my business. This person is not a janitor. This person is not a cleaner. And if you follow me on Instagram, you would notice a few days ago or so, last week, I recognized a member of my team. Her name is Rema, and she's worked in House of Tara for 12 years. 12 whole years. This is somebody who's given 12 years of their life in joining me to build this company. So I told you earlier on that the company is over 20 years. Can you imagine one person working in the company for 12 years? That's a significant number of years. And it was while she was within the company that there was some of the significant growth that we have seen, do you tell me that she didn't contribute to that growth? I would be a joker if I think not, right? The lady who set this up for me before I joined her, I don't know if you guys saw her, right? She's the head of operations at House of Tara, and I was struggling with this, and she just came and helped. She's worked in the company for 9 years. 9 years, we just finished a budget review meeting, and I remember acknowledging everybody who participated. And to think that 9 whole years of her time, of her life has been invested here at House of Tara. Do you think that Yetunde has not contributed to the blessing of House of Tara? I would be foolish to think otherwise. I think about Sheyi, for example, who's head of finance at House of Tara. Do I think that Sheyi's ability to ensure that the business is liquid, his ability to crunch the numbers and to produce financials that help me to make decisions hasn't contributed? I will be foolish, right, to think not. So I say this to end this story. Every single person that comes to work for you, his mother or father is praying. We're a very religious country, whether you're Muslim or Christian. And even if you're not Muslim or Christian, your heart says a prayer for your child. What you're praying is that your child will succeed. You wish your child, even if you're not praying, you wish your child, and that's the power of the mind, right? You wish your child success. You wish them well. Every time a mother or a father is wishing their child well, and they are coming into your business, they are wishing your business well. So acknowledge them, regard them, pay attention to them, let their voices be heard, because they've come with a blessing, and that blessing is for you and also for them. Thank you, guys. Let me see your comments. Let me see your feedback. Let me see it coming through, right? So I assume that my immediate network will constitute my client base. I thought that my bank would just give me money because my bank is a charity, right? I thought that my business was about me. But I would like to now say to you, number 4, keeping records is great, but knowing your profit and loss status is more important. Keeping your records is great, but knowing your profit and loss status is more important. A lot of times I was fixated with knowing my numbers. I was very certain that I always knew what I was generating. I always knew how much money was coming to my business. Day in, day out, I was keeping records. Please share, invite your friends who are entrepreneurs to come on. If you know you're enjoying this, share and let your friends come on in who are also entrepreneurs, come and learn from this session. If you know that you're learning, please do so. And I was very fixated on keeping, and if you've heard me speak anywhere, I always talk about it, right? But guess what? Keeping your records is great, but how well are you doing? And so for years, as I started my business, I didn't know how much profit I was making. And because I didn't know how much profit I was making, I was more fixated on the revenue that was coming in. And revenues are great. Revenues is fantastic. But guess what? When there's a crisis, you can lose your entire business simply because your business does not have a cushion. And that's what profit does. Profit gives you money to put back in, to build your company, build your business organically. But it also gives, you can come out of it because you have money stuck aside somewhere. And the only way to do that is earnings that are retained. And you can only retain earnings that are profit. So many times we're running businesses. Sometimes we claim that we're not making money, but we are actually making money, but we don't know. So you close up a business because you are not managing your cash flow, but not necessarily because you're not making money, right? In some cases, you think you are making money, but you are not making money. So I will beg every entrepreneur here, go and get Accounting for Dummies, right? It's really, really a basic book that helps you to understand profit and loss, how to track your revenues and how to track your expenses, understanding depreciation, that if you buy an item, if you buy something, that every single day that thing is being used is depreciating. And I was not conversant with, of course I was a law student, I didn't know anything about accounts, and I went into business. And there were for many years I was running a business that wasn't profitable, but I didn't know that it wasn't profitable. And I couldn't track where the areas where leakages were coming in from. And so my charge is knowing what you're generating is great, but it's not enough. You have to add understanding what your profit is and whether you're making any losses, or how profitable is your business. One of the things, another mistake that I made was to get carried away thinking that any staff who I employed, I trained and left was my enemy. The mistake I made was having a mindset that every employee that left was my enemy. It was a tough, for the kind of business that we were in, I was basically training people. And many times we get carried away thinking, oh, if I train someone, the person should stay forever. I mean, I've called some names now and said, oh, this person has been in the company for 12 years. This person has been in the company for 9 years. Fantastic. But there are many people who didn't stay. They didn't stay for 5 years. They didn't stay for 2 years. They didn't stay for 3 years. Not because I was a different boss, I'm still the same boss, but for different reasons. Number one, people have their own dreams and aspirations. The same way you have your dreams and aspirations, that's why others have their dreams and aspirations. And so one must give people the opportunity to go and live their purpose. And not everyone's purpose is tied to yours for a long period of time. Sometimes their purpose is tied with you for a short period of time. Acknowledge that it's for a short period of time. When it's time to let them go, let them go. But let them go not with a sense of entitlement, not anger, or to make them regret, get into a fight with them. These are some of the mistakes I made when I started my business. I was very fixated on that. And I look back today, and the thing I would like to tell you today, that if you train someone and the person leaves, by training people, what you've basically done is to show respect to your customers, first of all. Every time you do not train your employees and your staff who work with you, what you're basically saying is, I do not have any regard for my customers. And customers are the lifeline of your business. Without those customers, your business doesn't exist. And so the question for you is, what are you doing every day to show your customers that they deserve to be treated well? And to be treated well, your team need to be trained. They need to be trained consistently. They need to be trained on the vision of your business. They need to be trained on the purpose for the business. They need to be trained on the values of the business so that the outcomes are consistent and customers can expect the same thing over and over again. When you train people in your business, what you're also saying is, Nigeria deserves better quality of people. Nigeria deserves better quality of people. And so when they come to work at mine, I must train them to make them better for the Nigerian market. And so the person who employs them next gets a better trained employee than the one that came to you before. And so I'm speaking my charge to especially those who are small scale businesses here. Listen, it's worth it, because you may not reap where you sow, but you will reap where you sow. You may not reap where you sow, but you will reap what you sow. Take it with me. Every seed of training, of impartation, of development that you sow in someone who works in your organization, yes, it's something you can never take from them. As they go away, they are better for it. Whether they go away to start their own businesses, they're better businessmen. If they go and work for someone else, you have sent someone into the labor market better skilled and better equipped. But lastly, you will always reap where you sow, what you sow. And how? When people who are going to work with you for a longer term because their purpose is tied to yours, because it's something that you've done, you've sown, you've trained, whether they were staying or they were leaving. When those people who are supposed to stay with you, to build with you come, they would recognize that this is the place that they need to be. This is where they should be at this time. Are you guys learning anything? If you are, let me know in the chat section. Okay. And now what number are we at? What number are we at? What number are we at? And how much time do I have left? I think my time is almost up. I would like to say big opportunities and small opportunities is what gives us consistent growth. Big opportunities and small opportunities are what gives us growth. So I would like to charge us as, and the mistake I made was to think that the small opportunities were all there was. And so I was constantly looking for my everyday little drops of water. I was looking for my everyday transactions, right? But I didn't pay attention to seeking and finding big opportunities. So if you are a small business owner here, I want you to have big opportunities and small opportunities, 2 buckets. Draw them every day as you put together your success list, or some people will call it your to-do list. I want you to say, where are my big opportunities? Where are my small opportunities? For some of us who are in retail, your small opportunities is that transaction that comes to your IG, your Instagram every day, right? You're selling something, you're getting those alerts, right? Those are those small opportunities. But you need the big transactions, and let the big transactions also come in. A lot of women, sometimes we're very small. Our dreams are small. We don't dream big. We are even afraid of dreaming big dreams. But my charge to you today is, don't make the mistake I made where I focused more on my small opportunities and was not intentional about seeking out my big opportunity. There's some people who, on the other hand, they seek out big opportunities and ignore the small opportunities. I would like to say, let them work hand in hand, both the small and the big. Both the small and the big. And I'll give myself an example. So in my own business, every week we had bridal jobs. Those were small opportunities that were consistent. But one day I got a deal. Globacom at the time wanted to do a campaign. And this was the biggest transaction I'd ever had. They asked me to do the makeup for their first campaign, and they're going to have billboards across the country. I did that makeup and I was paid maybe ₦1 million or so. That was a big opportunity, but I never intentionally sought out big opportunities. Today I network, and network has brought big opportunities down the laps at House of Tara. But back in the days, I didn't pay attention, and I wish I did. I wish I paid attention to seeking out big opportunities, big transactions that were almost like big contracts within my business, but at the same time, acknowledge the small, because both the big and the small can definitely make a world of difference. Just never underestimate the emotional strain that having a business in Nigeria can have on you. The emotional strain. It's tough. I mean, yesterday, the CBN governor has just said, oh, they're no longer giving Forex to BDCs. There are many of us who that is going to impact. We had a shipment that was coming in from the US last year, September, and we only just had the opportunity of seeing our goods just last week. And so be prepared that it can be a very difficult and straining, emotionally draining experience. And I remember Dangote is saying that when entrepreneurs get to heaven, Nigerian entrepreneurs get to heaven, God will say, even if you're a bad person and you're a Nigerian entrepreneur, God will say, go to heaven. Why? Because he doesn't want you to go to hell twice. And in his opinion, doing business in Nigeria is like going to hell once. And that if you get to God on Judgment Day and he takes you to hell the second time, then you are having second jeopardy. And this is his belief. And I understand why. I understand the sentiments. And so I'd like to say, never underestimate what it does to you emotionally. As a woman, it can cause you to be distracted at home. It can cause you to disengage from your husband, and disengage from your wife, disengage from your children. I want you to have it behind your mind so that as you deal on a daily basis with your spouse, you understand that as an entrepreneur, if I am not careful, I will lose touch, not only of myself, but of my marriage, of my children, of my friends, simply because I have underestimated the strain that can come from doing business and running a business in Nigeria. This is the last one, and I will not be able to take any more because of time. I like to keep to time. Tax, if you are a limited liability company, please pay attention to your taxes and be disciplined about remitting your VAT as quickly as you can. Become conversant with the laws of Nigeria, the local government, to the federal government, to the state government level. Why? I suffered that. I didn't pay attention to it on time. And I had between 2013 to 2007 to 2010 to 2014, I had to churn out money that I should have been paying because I didn't pay attention to those things. I had to pay those monies back in chunk, and it affected our cash flow as a business. And so I would like to charge you. We have multiple taxes. We have taxes at multiple levels. And if you do have branches across Nigeria, then you have to pay the tax for the state in different places, whether it's your payee, whether it's the local government monies that they collect, radio, what have you. This is real in Nigeria. And so please pay attention to your taxes. I hope this is helpful. And these are some of my mistakes. And I'm hoping that this will not be your mistakes because you were able to learn from my mistakes. Thank you, everyone. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with you guys. God bless you. Let's build businesses that can last in Nigeria. I need to see more Nigerian female entrepreneurs who are building businesses that are making a difference, creating an environment where people feel a sense of community, who are managing their books. They understand their profit. They understand, what they're doing, how profitable their businesses are. They are building a place where people who are Josephs can come and serve and give of their blessings to you as well. I'm hoping that we will build businesses where we understand the taxes, the policies in Nigeria and how it affects us as business owners. And my prayer for you is you grow and you thrive in your marriages. If you're married and if you're not married, understand the strain that being an entrepreneur can have on you, but also be encouraged. I have been married for 20 years, happily married. I still wrote on my gratitude list yesterday about the blessing of the husband that I have. And guess what? That can be your story as well. It's possible to be successful as an entrepreneur, and it's also possible to be married and happily married at that. Thank you, everyone. God bless you guys.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you so much. It was very, very impactful, at least for me. And I'm sure that everyone learned a thing or two. So I don't know if we have any questions. Can you please drop your questions in the chat box? We use the next 15 minutes to take questions and answers from Mrs. Fela Durotoye. Okay, we'd like to see your questions in the chat box. I will read them out and then she will give us the answers. We're looking forward to your questions, except we're saying, oh, we learned everything and we don't have any questions, which I highly doubt. Okay, so we have someone here, Bumi Dunia says, how do I seek for big opportunities?
Okay, first of all, I would say ensure that your business is out there, right? Ensure that, because opportunities recognize you. And that's why I talked about talking about your business, because words are spirit and words are create. So continue to talk about your business. That's important. Loud it, be on the heel, talk about your business. Create a community of people who talk about what you do as well, right? And so opportunities come because it responds to the voices, it responds to the words, it responds to the testimonials. BAT could have called me at that time, Glow could call me at that time because they had heard of my brand, right? And that's because my brand was out there. So you have a responsibility to not say I'm an introvert, right? If you're an introvert, then find a way to get people to speak about what it is that you do, but let your brand be known and stay out there. Let the voice of your brand be known. Let it stay out there, scream it out there, because opportunities are attracted to the loudest voice.
All right, thank you, Ma. Thank you for that answer. We have Margaret Beze here. She says, when starting a small service business, should one concentrate on building a personal brand or the business brand?
And so I would say, depending on your personality and what you're comfortable with, I think it's so important to be your authentic self, right? I have seen people build brands around their business, right? And stay at the back, and they've been successful in doing so. But there are also people who have pushed their brands by their personality. People were attracted to their business because of who they are. And so try both. You can try both. You can try which one suits you the most, suits your personality. And the reason why I say it suits your personality is so it comes easy to you. It's easier for you. I think about the small mom and pop stores that we find in the UK, for example, where a second generation, third generation business, that they're not interested in having a chain of stores, but they've been in business, and that's the business that send their children to university, what have you. Not everybody should have or must have a conglomerate. Not everybody will be a Dangote. You can be a one mom and pop store, and what inspires you is engaging with your clients on a daily basis, seeing them, increasing the basket size per customer as opposed to increasing your footprint across the state or across the locality. It is your choice. And so if it is something that you're not trying to, it's a business you're not trying to grow into multiple. I mean, I think about Gani Fawehinmi, for example, the very famous human rights lawyer, one of the best lawyers out of Nigeria. Before he died, he had cancer and he was going to die. When he wrote his will, he said, 1 year after I had passed on, shut down my law firm, because his law firm was about him, Gani Fawehinmi. And he knew that he promoted it, right, to keep it going even after I wasn't here. It made no sense. And so you can choose to say, I don't want to have 500 stores. I don't want to be in every location in Nigeria and what have you. And you can make a choice to say, I want a small business, but I want to be personally invested in that business. I want to grow it from scratch. I want it to thrive, and I want it to do this for me, and I want it to do that for me.
All right, thank you, Ma. Thank you for that answer. I have another question from Stephanie, which says, does location of your
price... Take one more. I can only take one more.
Okay.
One more question.
So this one more question from Stephanie. It says, does location of your business influence your pricing?
Yes. So in my own case, yes, but and why? Because the demographics and the people. So for example, there are some of our products that we do not sell, or we don't sell as much in different locations. And so if you're putting certain products, so we have some high-end products, we have products that some foundations that are like 8,000, 9,000 naira, right? When we look at the stores that we are in, we have all our stores in tiers. We have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. There are stores, we have stores across the country. We have in Kano, Kaduna, Ilorin, Port Harcourt, Asaba, Uyo, Enugu. We have in most places in Lagos, Amuwo, Dofin, Via, Lekki, Surulere, Ikeja. But because of the environment, we have Asaba. And you find that the customers are unwilling. And it's also because of the environment that they are in, whether it's the access to revenue, to income in those localities, determining how much disposable income they have. And so that affects how we price. And also, it also means that the cost of running those locations is cheaper, simply because it's in a different location. Varying views, charge the same amount anywhere, and if people cannot pay, then they're not ready to do business with you. But this is my own preference.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been amazing. We can see even that from the comments that people are making. Someone says, this is the first time she's enjoying a webinar. Thanks a billion times. God bless you. Thanks for blessing us with your wealth of experience. Thank you very much, ma'am. And thank you everyone for joining. This was a short one, but it really hit home for every single one of us. And really hope that next time when we want to have you here, you will be willing and ready just the way that you were this time to join us. Thank you so much for your time and for coming. Thank you to everyone. Before we go, we just like to take a closing remark from Jumoke Odulana.
Really, really great. I will want to just say, it's really to just say thank you to Mrs. Tara Fela Durotoye. When we invited you, we knew it was going to be exciting, but you have truly exceeded our expectations. We want to say that we love you so much. We thank you for being with us today. As the MBT has said, we hope to see more of you. And I'm very, very sure that a lot of people have been inspired by your story. I personally have been inspired by your story. I've followed you for many, many years. And I hope that we will see your style replicates the way you've empowered people. We hope that we will see a lot of people be able to testify that from this session, they got, that feedback or that impact, and they are able to replicate what you have done. So thank you, and thank you everyone. Stay tuned to this channel, to She for Shield, to She's in Charge. We will be releasing another exciting episode next month. Thank you everyone, and bye-bye. Enjoy the rest of your day.